Welcome to our podcast where we look for opportunities in our lives to see a beautiful view. I'm Paul.
And I'm Candy. Thank you for joining us today.
If you like what we're doing here and want to partner with us, you can join the Beautiful View Patreon.
And we'd like to do a shout out to our most recent Patreon subscribers, the hopeful few, Tyler and Kelsey. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you.
When you join our Patreon, like Tyler and Kelsey did, we'll send you a Beautiful View sticker. We'll give you a shout out on the show. And every Monday morning, you'll receive a weekly newsletter with insider information and encouragement for your week.
Memberships are only $5 a month, and you can find the link in our show notes. Also, if you are interested in sponsoring the Beautiful View podcast, then please send us an email at beautifulviewpod@gmail.com.
We are so excited to share with you again today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the beautiful view.
We could climb a mighty mountain, float on down a winding river, travel back in time and face our future too. I'm not scared of where I'm going, 'cause I know whose hands I'm holding. Oh, I'd go anywhere, as long as you're going to. Well, I'd go anywhere, as long as I'm with you.
In today's episode, we are going to be talking about eats and treats.
Yeah, we are big foodies. So we are going to share some of the foods that we love to cook, foods we discovered on the road, how we cooked in the RV for 6.5 years while we were full-time RVers, what holiday meals looked like on the road, and how we've adapted these things back into our bricks and sticks life.
We definitely love to eat. And Candy and I both bring a flavor of cooking to the table. Being from England, I introduced her to some of my favorite foods very on in our relationship.
And being from Texas, of course, Mexican or Tex-Mex is a food group on its own. I wasn't always a great cook, though. At some point, I decided my family needed to eat something besides Hamburger Helper and frozen dinners. So
Well, there's lots of varieties of Hamburger Helper.
yeah,
you know.
but so I found a recipe book and started teaching myself to cook. Thankfully, I caught on pretty quickly and found it to be a lot of fun.
I also love to cook. I think that might even be how I ended up winning your heart.
Aww.
With my homemade spaghetti bolognese.
That's true. It definitely earned you a few brownie points, that's for sure. I think that was the first meal that you ever cooked for me.
Yes.
And then you cooked me an Indian curry, which,
A little different.
yeah, I wasn't sure how I felt about that at first, but now I love it.
We have a household of cooks. Even the kids love to cook. It's safe to say that we eat pretty well around here.
That we do. Let's just jump right in and make everyone hungry. How about that?
Yes, let's do that.
What are some of your favorite dishes to cook?
So we talked about the curry.
Yes.
I love to cook curry. There's quite a process to it. So it usually takes several hours to prepare to cook it.
Yes.
And so there's some marinating that needs to be done, lots of things to dice and chop up and gather together. And so I just like that whole process. I also like how once you've got all of your ingredients cooked, it's kind of a mixture of a whole bunch of things, and then you let it simmer for a long time.
Yes.
And then it magically turns into curry.
Yeah.
It looks like curry.
Yeah.
But at first it doesn't.
Right.
It's just a kind of a mess of different things.
Yeah.
So I do like that.
I like it when you cook it outside.
Yeah, because it does stink out wherever I'm cooking. So definitely outside in the RV.
Outside of the house, too.
Outside of the house, too. Yeah, I get it. I mean, it does, like, it smells
don't
great.
get me wrong. I love the smell of it when we're having it. I do not love the smell the next morning. And that smell hangs around for a long time.
Yeah, it's not like cold pizza where it improves the next day. It, like, grows legs and starts running around the house and banging doors and things. So
Yeah.
the other dish that I do like to cook, and I don't cook it often enough. Like I used to cook it for our anniversary sometimes, for your birthday, but I love to do cod
Yes.
in a lemon sauce
Oh, yeah.
with asparagus. I also put capers in the sauce around the fish.
So good.
I bake it in the oven. It's really delicious. And
I
actually,
think that's what we're doing for my birthday this year.
yeah, we need to do that again. It's a really easy meal to cook, and it doesn't take very long either.
Yeah.
The other thing that I like to do is smoke things on the grill. And I especially love it when it's like a brisket or something like that, where you have to kind of tend to it for like the whole day.
Yeah. You love the process of the cooking experience.
It's very therapeutic for me to be
Yeah.
doing the cooking. Oftentimes when I'm thinking about or preparing for a cook, it can stress me out. Like I'm like, do I have everything I need? Like, what do I have to do here? But then when I'm in the process of actually cooking, that's where it gets therapeutic. How about you? What are some dishes that you like to cook? You cook a lot of dishes.
I cook a lot of dishes. So, I mean, I rarely cook the same dish twice.
Right.
Which is really crazy when I tell people that they're like, what? But so I use Pinterest a lot. So, and I usually go by like what we have in the freezer, what kind of meat we have,
Yes.
and what produce we have.
Which you can do that on Pinterest, right? You can just tap in
I
what
can just put
ingredients
in-
you have, and then it comes up with some suggestions.
It kind of comes up with some suggestions. So
Yeah.
I do that a lot. But I would say if I have to talk about like my favorite things to cook, I really love to cook things that I love to eat.
Well, that limits it a little bit,
I
right?
would say probably anything Mexican food, like
Yes.
enchiladas.
Yes.
I do like it's called a Texas tamale pie. That's really yummy. Things with a little bit of heat to them.
Yeah, because that's and now we live in Iowa. That's really the only way to get Tex-Mex is for us to cook it.
Oh yeah, we have to cook it ourselves for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like to do casseroles and that kind of thing. That seems to be
A lot of crock pot stuff.
a lot of I love my crock pot. I never jumped on the Instapot bandwagon. I am a crock pot girl. So and I love spices.
Yes.
Like I love to use different spices. I have a huge spice rack with all kinds
You
of
do.
spices.
Took me
And
forever to put it together.
I know, but
And then
it's
hang
so
it up
cool.
on the wall. That was something, like to try and figure out how to put all the screws in the wall in exactly the right spots in order for it all
Yeah.
to match up. That was kind of a thing.
It was a thing, but it's so cool. And I use all of those spices.
Yeah, it's like-
pretty cool.
I'm trying to remember how many spices. It's like 110 different spices or something like that. It's ridiculous.
I don't think it's quite that many. It's not that many. I mean, I might be a spice girl, but I'm not that spicy. So anyway, so that's probably some of my favorite things. Okay, so I think I already know the answer to this, but
Yes.
let's talk about what is one of your favorite foods that we discovered on the road?
Well, South Padre Island was where I first really got into oysters on the half shell
Oh, yeah.
at Joe's Oyster Bar. That was, oh man. And I kind of went...
You can put those things away.
Yeah, I went a little over the top. So they had a deal one day when we were there. The dozen oysters on the half shell was a special price, together with, I think it was $1.75 beer,
Something like that.
which was not the best beer in the world, but it was cold.
Cerveza.
And yeah, so after 4 dozen of those,
Oh. I can do about 2 before it engages my gag reflex.
now, there was the time when we were there a few years ago when I chomped into an oyster
Oh,
and
yeah.
there was a little pearl in there, which most people would be excited about, but I almost smashed my tooth on the
Lost a
stupid thing. So I
It
wasn't
wasn't even a pretty pearl either.
No, it was kind of an ugly, like chrome meteorite in there. It was just not good. But I love oysters on the half shell. One of the things that we were introduced to, in fact, our friend Justin and Alora, Justin is from Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio. And so he put us on to Cincinnati chili. So he found out we were in Ohio, and then he's like, you've got to try Cincinnati chili.
So Cincinnati chili, in case you're not familiar with it, so it is...
It doesn't sound like a great idea when you first hear it.
Yeah, but it is so good. And I found a copycat recipe, so now we make it from time to time. And actually, I like our version of it better than actually
Much.
Skyline chili.
It's actually really close to it, except
Yeah.
we use the spaghetti noodles that they use are kind of like a...
So we haven't even said what it is yet. So it's chili, but the chili has some really different spices in it. So it has cinnamon in it.
It's very
And
different.
it has cocoa powder. So it has a really deep, rich flavor to it.
And again, that doesn't sound like a good idea.
But it's so good.
So we went and ate it. Like we went to Skyline Chili,
And it's served over spaghetti noodles.
served over spaghetti noodles, which is odd too. And these spaghetti noodles that we had at Skyline are just not like the spaghetti noodles that you have, like if you do spaghetti bolognese or something like that. It's just not the same shape. So you get these spaghetti noodles and you get chili on top of it that smells like a mixture of hot chocolate and cinnamon rolls. So again, doesn't sound good. And then you can have it like 2 ways, 3 ways,
3-way, 4-way, 5-way.
3 ways, 4 ways, 5 way.
And it all is dependent. You can add kidney beans or
Chopped
onions and cheese.
Cheese.
So if you get it 5-way, it
And the
comes with all
little
of that.
oyster crackers.
Yes.
So you put all that together. So we went there and we got this stuff, and it's a different smell, and we ate it. And it's one of those things you take the first mouthful and you're like, that's odd. But then you take a second mouthful and a third mouthful, and then you can't stop. And then you go away from it and like, yeah, that was really different. I don't know if I'd have it again. And then 2 days later, you're like, you want
Craving
to
it.
You want to go back? we need to go back and get some more. So, yeah. But then you found a copycat recipe. Now we can do it anytime we want.
I did, because you asked for it for Father's Day.
Yes.
And I think we were not in Ohio. I don't remember
No.
where we were for Father's Day, but we were not in Ohio. So I found a copycat recipe on Pinterest, and it actually was really close, and it was really good.
Very, very good. Try it. If you haven't tried it, try it.
Yeah. So on the road, we didn't really eat out a whole lot.
No.
So we probably missed out on some kind of location-based cuisine. We did find the Cincinnati chili, and that was fun, but
Yes.
we didn't do a whole lot of that. So it's just so much more cost-effective to cook really good food at home than to go and eat out.
Yeah, and at least if you're cooking it, you know it's going to be good.
Of course, yes.
You know, you can go to the same restaurant, and depending on which chef they have back there, it might be fantastic
Yeah.
or not
or
very
not
good.
fantastic. And it's always disappointing when you drop a lot of money and
Yeah, like $60-$70 for our family to eat at least. And then it's like, oh, that was,
not great.
that was not great.
When we first moved into the RV, we were eating like we were on a never-ending camping trip. I think after 2 or 3 weeks of that, we decided that we were going to have to calm down and stop eating like we were on vacation.
Well, we were excited.
I know, but that was just not sustainable. Oh my goodness. If we had kept eating like that, we weren't even going to be able to fit through the door of the RV.
So how did we turn the bus around?
Well, I started doing what I had done for years in our house before the RV. I started meal planning again. And it was a little tricky, though, because our little RV oven wasn't working correctly in the beginning.
Right.
Plus, it was summertime. in Texas.
Yep.
So cooking inside the RV was pretty much out of the question
Yeah,
because
you
it made
couldn't do it.
everything so hot.
Yeah, and we were there for some time, so it was like that was just not happening. We cooked outside a little bit, but then you're back to grilling food. So then you end up with the camp food again.
Yeah. We had to kind of figure that out.
However, some of my favorite campground meals that we cooked were you found a recipe for Dutch oven pizza,
Oh, yeah.
which is really good.
It's like a pull-apart
Pull-apart pizza. So you have the dinner rolls, the frozen dinner rolls that you put in, and that makes the pizza base in the Dutch oven. And then you put some toppings on, and like somewhere into the cook, you add the cheese. And then at the end, there's like pickles that you put on top.
Pepperoncinis.
Pepperoncinis, that's right. And those are really good too. So by the time you're done, you have this Dutch oven full of this like really thick, yummy pizza that you can just kind of dive in with your hands and pull it apart
That's
and
so
eat it. It's
good.
very, very good.
So good.
Another thing that I always like to cook is a steak. I know that you're not a big fan.
Yeah. I could take or leave steak.
So, but I love steak.
I know
So I like to cook steaks on the grill over charcoal. We also cook pork tenderloins a lot over charcoal. Now, we've cooked pork tenderloin in the oven, and it's not so good.
It's not as great.
It's
yeah.
very plain. But if you
Yeah.
cook it over charcoal, it's really,
Get that
really good.
smoky. Yeah. it's
Yeah.
good. And usually you're cooking the meat outside on the grill or over the fire or whatever. And I do a lot of the prepping and cooking for side dishes and stuff like that inside. So, and that goes for both the RV and the house. That's a lot of times how we do things.
We did eventually figure out what the issue was with the RV oven. It runs on propane. And actually works pretty darn good now.
Yeah, it does.
But it has a little sensor that is mounted right next to the pilot light. And apparently, if it's not the correct distance away from that pilot light, then it thinks it's hotter than it actually is in the oven and keeps shutting it off. And that was the problem we had. And all it took to fix it was a little bit of like bending and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think
And
I
it
had
works great.
I had it fixed in like 5 minutes after
I
it's
wish
going.
we had known so much earlier because
Yeah.
we went months with it.
Well,
Not
maybe
working.
like a year and a half
Yeah.
for that working right. And then I found this comment on a forum, an RV forum. If you've got this suburban stove, then just do this, and this, and it'll work. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
well,
that
cool.
easy. So another thing that we did was we added a pizza stone to the bottom of the oven to
Yeah.
it kind of helps distribute the heat a little bit better.
Yes.
And that made a huge difference. So we were still limited on what we could cook in it at one time because it is pretty small.
Yeah, it is tiny.
I have several casserole dishes that fit in it. Our cast iron skillet fits in it. I found a small cookie sheet that would fit. So we just kind of made do and we just planned accordingly.
Yep.
I will say that it's one of my favorite things about being back in the house, and that is having a full-size oven. And maybe someday I'll have double ovens again.
I'll try not to electrocute myself this time while installing them. That brings us to preparing holiday meals in the RV. We have a lot of holiday traditions when it comes to food. In the house, that was easy with the oven space, but in the RV, it's a little more work, but we still managed to figure it out.
We did. We love our holiday meals. I think I get the feeding people as a love language from my daddy.
Yes, I think you do.
With our family coming from different cultures, we try to mix in a little bit of everything. The first several years of RV living, we ended up back at my parents' house for the holidays, so I cooked mostly in my mom's kitchen with her double oven.
But in 2020, everything was weird. We were in quarantine at the campground we were at because we had been exposed. We never ended up actually getting sick, but, we were just trying to do what we were supposed
Trying
to
to
do.
do the right thing.
And so the big family gatherings didn't happen. We did our entire Thanksgiving dinner in the RV for the first time.
We did. Emily and I had so much fun with that. That's actually one of my very favorite memories. We found the smallest turkey we could find.
A baby turkey.
It was a baby. I don't know. I don't remember how. I think it was like 12 or 13 pounds, something like that. So that we made our other favorite side dishes to go with it. We roasted our Brussels sprouts and sweet potatoes. We had our green bean and rice casserole. We made stuffing and homemade cranberry sauce. And we made a yummy icebox pumpkin pie to finish it off.
Which was amazing.
Oh, the whole thing was amazing.
Of course, in England, we didn't really celebrate Thanksgiving.
No.
Because why would you in England? Except for the one time when we celebrated at Burger King.
Oh, that time. Yeah, when I flew over there on Thanksgiving, and Paul didn't really know that Thanksgiving was a thing. So.
I didn't even. It wasn't on my radar. When you said, yeah, it's Thanksgiving today, I'm like, oh, cool.
You want to eat Burger King?
You want to eat Burger King? So we were stopping at Burger King. We were traveling from one place to another. We stopped at Burger King, and we had Burger King for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was just happy to be with you, so it didn't really matter.
Oh, how sweet. Yeah, so Thanksgiving was a completely new holiday to me, and it includes very different foods. Mm-hmm. I was not a fan of several things that appear at Thanksgiving.
That's true.
Yeah, there's what I like to term throw-up casserole, which is a
It's just green bean casserole. It's green beans and cream of mushroom soup and the French fried onions on top.
So just like the Cincinnati chili doesn't sound appetizing when you consider the cinnamon rolls and the hot chocolate and the chili and the spaghetti. Mm-hmm. So like in your mind, those things don't sound good. Throw up casserole doesn't look good. It looks like throw up casserole.
Yeah.
You know, it's fine. It eats fine. It's just not very appealing.
You do like my green bean casserole.
Your green bean casserole is incredible.
Okay, thank you.
No cans involved.
No.
That's the trick.
Yeah.
There's several other things as well. What's that thing with the marshmallows and like, I don't know, mashed carrots or something?
Mashed carrots?
What the heck is that thing?
Are you talking about the Mandarin Jello salad
thing?
thing?
Oh, that's another thing.
Oh, okay. So that's not what you're talking
That's
about?
terrible too, but there's some kind of like marshmallow.
Oh, it's sweet potato pie. The sweet potatoes with the marshmallows on top? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh my gosh, yes. So I know they're called sweet potatoes. We've always eaten sweet potatoes fresh, and we've eaten them as a savory dish, right?
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like marshmallows anyway.
No.
I mean, you know, would you eat a pie made of Brussels sprouts with marshmallows on top?
Oh, gross.
No, you wouldn't. Why put them on top of sweet potatoes? Terrible idea. Anyway, if you
but
ever...
there have to be some things that you love about the Thanksgiving dinner stuff.
I love being with family.
Okay.
I love having some time off.
Yeah.
Those things. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we combined all of our favorites and we made our own take on the traditional holiday food for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you definitely were not impressed with Thanksgiving dinner when you first came over here. So thankfully, since I learned how to cook and how to use spices and seasonings and fresh produce and all those kinds of things, we've made it into something really special for our family.
Yes.
And I love cooking the turkey. A lot of people get really intimidated by cooking a turkey. I love it. I think it's a lot of fun.
It comes out really great every single time.
I tell you what, Pioneer Woman's turkey recipe has never let me down. I have used that for probably the last, 10 years or so.
It's fantastic.
Maybe not that long.
Mm-hmm.
But I've cooked everything from that tiny turkey in the RV up to a 26-pound turkey at my parents' house.
Yep.
And it's always full of flavor and very moist. And I'll have to share that link on our Facebook page or something.
Yeah, you need to do that.
It's really, really good.
And that's one of the things that I've always enjoyed about our Thanksgiving dinners with the family is like, if we're there, then I get to carve the turkey.
Oh, yeah.
And I always love doing that because each time I'm like, how did I do it last time? Because it's been a full year since I've last carved turkey.
I've slept 364 times.
Yeah, 64 times. So, yeah, but I really enjoy doing that. And like everybody gathers around to watch the turkey being carved. So that's pretty
fun.
cool. I like
yeah,
that.
It's fun.
So back to 2020, the crazy year. We decided to celebrate Christmas at South Padre Island. So instead of our traditional Christmas dinner, where we used to do lamb, roasted veggies, British Christmas pudding, we opted for a Mexican food thing.
We were in South Texas, so Mexican food was just the only thing that seemed right.
Absolutely.
So we bought some tamales, and I found a delicious recipe for beef enchiladas.
Yes,
I made
you did.
homemade Spanish rice, refried beans. It was so good that we've done that every year since then.
And you also still made my British Christmas pudding. And we always hide, as is the tradition in England, we always hide a £1 coin in it. Whoever gets that coin is supposed to have good luck for the year. So you hide it in the pudding, you dish up the pudding, and then someone breaks their teeth on the pound coin.
No, you fish around with your spoon first before you bite in.
We're back to the pearl in the oyster again.
Yeah, let's not break a tooth.
So usually Emily gets the pound coin.
Yeah.
And sadly, Tyler told me just a couple of days ago when we were talking about this that he's never gotten it.
That's sad.
So I almost want to rig the whole thing so that he gets it this time.
I'll pay special attention this year. He needs to have a good year.
He needs to have a good year, but Emily's had a great year every year so far. I think one year I got it.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I've got it once or twice too.
Yeah.
So why don't you explain what Christmas pudding is to our listeners that aren't up on their British Christmas culture?
Well, in England, there are puddings, lots of different puddings, and there is a special pudding for Christmas. Now, a pudding is basically a cake. It's like a dense cake that you put lots of different ingredients in, and you put it into a pudding basin. And then what used to happen back in the day is you would cover the pudding basin with a cloth, and then you place that pudding basin, which is a thick ceramic basin, into a pan of boiling water. And then you boil the water around that pudding basin so that it heats up the pudding inside. It's so steamed and it's heated.
That's how I do it.
Yeah. So Christmas pudding, one variety of British pudding, is like a bunch of mixed fruit. It's basically, okay, I've got an easy explanation. It's brandy with cake in it.
And the cake part has a lot of raisins
It's mixed
and
fruit.
currants.
Yeah, so dried fruit.
Dried fruit, mostly.
Which obviously they moisten up in the pudding.
Yeah.
And then it has what I would call a suet mix, but I know suet isn't something that you that's not a term that's used often in the States.
No, it's kind of like a shortening.
It's shortening. Let's just call it what it is. It's animal fat.
Yeah.
and again, back to the Cincinnati chili. Things that don't sound good, but I mean, you've got to try and taste it first before you make any judgment on it.
It is really delicious.
It's absolutely amazing. And then you soak the thing. Like once it's cooked, then you take the pudding out of the boiling water. Of course, you have to make sure you keep topping up the water because it boils for how long? It's like hours and hours.
Yeah, like all day.
All day. You boil it all day. And then once that pudding comes out, you let it cool, and then you start pouring a little bit of brandy in there. And that's what makes it really good. And then just before you serve the Christmas pudding, you make up a brandy sauce, which is
like a white, creamy
icing
sauce.
Sugar and brandy and brandy and more brandy.
It is really yummy.
It is very
really
delicious. Good. Yep.
So another thing is baking cookies. We love, the kids and I, especially Emily and I, love to bake holiday cookies or for really any holiday. We just love to bake cookies. And I have the best decorating sugar cookie recipe for cookies. So maybe I need to share that too. Yeah. But we love to decorate cookies. And in the RV, we could only bake like 6 cookies at a time because we have a tiny little oven and a tiny little cookie sheet. So it would literally be an all-day deal. So Obviously now we can do bigger batches of cookies at
Yes.
one time, but you know what? It was so much fun. We didn't even care how long it took. So we just took a day out and did cookie baking and
decorating them.
decorating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Another tradition brought over the pond from the motherland is mincemeat pie.
Yeah, you want to explain what that is? When you first talked about it, I thought it was like ground beef pie or something savory. I didn't realize what it was.
No, it's very simple. It's basically like the same ingredients that go into a Christmas pudding, except it's in so you get it in a jar. Mincemeat is something you get in a jar. It has very little to do with meat at all.
Yeah.
It's just dried fruit mixed up with some spices. In kind of like a jelly, and then that's your pie filling.
Yeah.
So you make up little pies with the mincemeat in them,
Or a big pie.
or a big pie, and they are delicious.
Yeah, it's really good. So we used to make mincemeat pie for Christmas in addition to the Christmas pudding.
Of course,
When we were doing big family gatherings.
yes.
But now we've kind of pushed the mincemeat pie to New Year's because that's just way too much sugar for Christmas.
Yeah, and you got to do something special at New Year's as well.
Yeah,
So
I usually make some kind of fun little, do something fun with the topping on it or whatever for New Year's. So,
But to me, it doesn't feel like Christmas unless I've had like some of those flavors and smells that I'm used to from back in England.
yeah.
Our food traditions have evolved over the years depending on our circumstances. But you can rest assured that when there's a holiday, these girls are in their aprons having a ton of fun in the kitchen.
Yeah, Emily is my holiday meal fixing sidekick.
Yeah,
and I
there's
love that.
Lots of giggling.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. We have so much fun. And my mom and I always enjoy cooking together when we're back in Texas, too.
Yeah, you have your
So,
matching aprons.
We do. We have matching aprons and we're cute. And Emily loves helping me in the kitchen as well. And she's also a really great cook.
She is, yeah. Several years ago, we got her a blank recipe book so that she could start recording some of our favorite family recipes. This was her idea. Like, she wanted to make sure that once she moved away from home, that she had all this stuff, which is a really good idea because you did the same thing with your parents and your grandparents. You wanted to have those recipes, which is where you got the coffee cake recipe and all that kind of stuff. It's really important to pass those things down.
That is.
And she's actually helped me to put some of my recipes that are just in my head down on paper.
Yeah, there's several of those.
which is kind of a challenge. Like when I actually got to explaining how I made curry step by step to her, it would be like, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Oh, hang on a second. There's another step between step 2 and 3. So let's do 2A, 2B, and then we go on. And then, that would happen over and over again until the point where Emily's like, this isn't making any sense anymore. I got to rewrite the whole thing. So, yeah, that was a good exercise.
Yeah, she is definitely the keeper of the recipes, and she's way more organized with that stuff than we are. We probably have a few other ones that we need to add to her collection, too.
Yeah. Tyler is also a great cook. Several years ago, you did a cooking class with him in his homeschool curriculum.
I did, and that was at his request. So each year at the beginning of our school year, I would ask the kids if there was something fun that they wanted to learn about or anything in particular. And that year, Tyler wanted to learn about cooking. So we got online, we found several recipes. He had to cook 3 times. So the first time he cooked them, I showed him how to do everything. We went through like knife safety and all the, oven safety, all the things. The second time, he cooked the same thing again, but just with a little bit of help.
Yep.
And then the third time, he cooked it all by himself.
Which he was very excited about.
He was very excited about it.
He felt like he graduated or something.
Yeah. And for his final for that class, he had to come up with and prepare his own recipe, like make something up. So he came up with a dish that he called Lemon Angel. So it's basically a chicken and angel hair pasta dish.
Yep.
And he makes a homemade cream of chicken soup that goes in it for the sauce. And he adds lemon juice, salt and pepper, and cheese to the sauce.
Yeah.
And I think he may have even thrown in some spinach or some kale or something into it for some color.
Yeah.
too, but it's actually really delicious.
It's very good. And what was fun about that is watching his face as he was imagining all of those ingredients together.
Yeah.
Like he had tasted a lot of individual ingredients and kind of he was beginning to a good cook uses ingredients like a painter uses paints on a canvas. It's like, you know what certain spices go together with what meats and what the end dish is supposed to be and how to get there with those ingredients. And he was going through that process. So that worked out really good.
It did. Yeah, he did a really good job with that. That was a lot of fun.
And last year, he had to do his cooking merit badge for Scouts. And for that, he had to do a meal planning for all of the Scouts for the troop for that camp out for one day. And then he'd have to figure out what ingredients he needed to make the dishes. And then the Scout leader took him to the grocery store and walked around with him, bought all the ingredients. And then we took them with us. And so it was like, okay, what's for breakfast, Tyler? What's for lunch? What's for dinner? What's for dessert?
He was in charge.
Yeah, he was in charge.
Happy to do it too.
Oh, yeah. And that particular camp out, he also cooked a dessert in the Dutch oven, which is when you go with the Scout troop to a camp, that's the main method of cooking is with the Dutch oven.
Yeah.
And so they have these large Dutch ovens, and he cooked the dessert in the Dutch oven. And it was a really, really good poppy seed and lemon cake with a raspberry pie filling. And when the judges came around to judge the desserts, when they got to our troop, they left very happy, and we won the whole thing. There were like maybe 11 or 12 Scout troops there.
Yeah.
And we won the thing and got a little trophy, and that's up in the back of the Scout trailer mounted on the door, so we see that every time we go in the trailer.
That is so cool. What fun. Food and cooking is such an adventure. We love to cook and share a meal with family and friends.
Some of our favorite memories on the road are the nights where we did what we called Hurry for Curry.
Yeah.
Which is where we try to combine both of those things. So we would cook a chicken tikka masala curry, and I would cook as much as I possibly could with the containers that we had. And then we would put out a message on our messenger group for that campground to say, okay, this evening we have curry.
First come, first served.
First come, first served. When we run out, we run out.
Yep.
And we would wait for everybody to show up. And so then we would serve a bowl of curry and rice.
Yep.
And hand it out until it was all gone.
Yeah.
So that got people together talking.
That was a lot of fun.
Oh, it was a great deal of fun.
I think people looked forward to it because we went back to when we were at South Padre. That was a big thing. And then the next year when we came back, it was like, are we going to do Hurry for Curry again?
Yep.
When is Hurry for Curry?
Yep. And we're hoping to do that here. That's something that we actually have our friends asking us for right now. And so we have to carve out some time and make this happen.
We do, yes. We will have to plan a day where we can do Hurry for Curry.
Now, the weather's getting colder, so that will be more appropriate for a spicy curry dish. So we can do that here real soon.
Yeah, the Hurry for Curry nights were a whole lot of fun. There's something truly special about gathering around a table and sharing a meal together with other people. It's important to us for our family to share meals together as often as possible. It's a time for conversation, to laugh, and to enjoy each other's company. Those opportunities are fewer and further between these days with everyone going in different directions, but we still try to gather as often as possible.
Food connects and brings people together. It brings families together. It brings friends together.
It does.
It just provides us with a great excuse to sit down and share some time together.
Yeah. In Scripture, if you read in the Gospels, there are so many times that Jesus eats with or feeds people.
Yep.
He feasted at a wedding party. He ate with his disciples. He ate with friends. He ate with people he just met. He ate with people that the religious leaders didn't approve of.
Right.
He fed hungry people, lots of them.
Yes, and Actually, we are involved in a community program right now here in Bellevue where every Saturday we get to hand out boxes of food to the community.
Yeah.
And so that is based on Matthew chapter 25, which talks about the fact that when we feed each other, when we help each other, when we share things with each other, we're actually sharing and helping and being with Christ himself.
Yeah, I love
And
that.
so with just the same amount of love as we show other people, we demonstrate our love for Christ.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a connection that happens when we sit down and dine with others. We learn from each other. We share stories. We laugh together. We connect.
Yes.
So the question I want to ask is, who can you share a meal with this week?
Yeah. Sharing meals together is a special thing, whether you're creating memories with the ones you're preparing them with, or creating a beautiful space to spend time together eating and visiting. I read a quote I want to wrap up with today. The table is a meeting place, a gathering ground, the source of sustenance and nourishment, festivity, safety, and satisfaction. A person cooking is a person giving. Even the simplest food is a gift.
I love that. And I hope that our table is always all of those things.
I do too.
And that is true. Cooking for people is a gift of love, and it's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing.
Thank you for listening today. If you know of someone who would enjoy this podcast, please tell them about it. Visit us at Beautiful View Podcast on Facebook or Instagram. Share our posts or share the link to our podcast. In our next episode, we are going to have a very special treat for you.
Yay!
Our friends Tyler and Kelsey, the Hopeful Few, who provided the music for our show,
Yeah.
they were recently in town.
They were.
And we spent a lot of time together with Tyler and Kelsey and their beautiful daughter, Mia.
Yes.
And they did 3 gigs while they were in the area. Also, they very kindly agreed to sit down with us and do a little interview.
Yeah, it was so much fun. You're going to
It
love
was.
it. I can't wait to share it.
I can't wait to sit down and edit it. So, I mean, it was just a really sweet time together. They shared a lot of things. And so I'm just excited about getting that one out there.
Yeah. You can check out The Hopeful Few on Spotify or Apple Music. The links are in our show notes. And if you have any questions you would like us to answer or suggestions for things you would like us to talk about in future episodes, you can just email us at beautifulviewpod@gmail.com.
And as a reminder, please consider joining the Beautiful View Patreon. This will really help us keep the episodes coming. Again, the link is in our show notes, and it is also on our social media accounts.
We hope you have a great day. And remember to always keep an eye open for opportunities in life to see a beautiful view.
We could climb a mighty mountain, float on down a winding river, travel back in time and face our future too. Oh, I'm not scared of where I'm going, 'cause I know whose hands I'm holding. Oh, I'd go anywhere as long as you're going too. And I'd go anywhere as long as I'm with you. Yeah, I'd go